What's up, YouTube? Wanted to do a quick review video of these Panorama 3.0 pre-rig swim baits. See these things. They look amazing. And I've had the opportunity to fish with these a little bit. And honestly, these baits are an absolute home run. So, I've primarily fished as of right now, the bluegill bait. I've thrown that basically on some pre-spawn, starting to spawn bass. I just absolutely had one of the best nights ever. Largemouth bass fishing the other night when I went out with these. So the situation was bass are just starting to move shallow here in the Northeast. Water temps are like almost in the 60s, depending on what the kind of weather's like for a few days. So as these bass were starting to move up shallow, I was essentially in my kayak throwing from 8 feet of water up into 1 or 2 feet of water, bringing it back out to me over top of grass. And basically what was happening is as soon as those baits were hitting from that bank line to just about where the grass line was starting, I was just getting smoked, like cast after cast after cast. I went out in kayak for about an hour and a half, ended up catching like 12 bass. So when I'm done kind of showing you these baits, I'm gonna show you a few of those catches as well. They're gonna kind of have the black bars on the side because I took the videos as intended for shorts, but I definitely want to include them in this video. So basically, the original Panoramas that came out, they were okay. I wasn't a giant fan of them, especially the bigger size. The smallest size they had actually was decent on a Ned rig for me in the Delaware River. But the bigger sizes, I never really caught anything on them. I didn't really like rigging them any specific ways. It just, for me, they didn't fit into my arsenal. I know other people have had success with them, but personally, I just didn't have success with them. These pre-rigged small swim baits, on the other hand, completely different story. So what I like is the bait itself is actually pretty durable and it swims really true. It's got a really good tail kicking action. It stays basically straight up and down. I was able to speed it up or slow it down, and for the most part, it ran really true. Kind of one of the cons that I found with this bait is after 2 or 3 fish, the print really started to wear off. And I'm gonna grab the bait that I was using specifically the other night to show you kind of what that bait looked like after about 12 fish. But again, that's not really a huge deal because I think this was like $8 for a pack of 3. And I only used 1 bait and I got 12 fish out of it, and I could probably still take that same bait out and catch a bunch more fish. The actual bait itself is not damaged in any way. It's just the actual, like however they glue on this 3D print, it starts to rub off pretty quick. But outside of that, these don't really have any scent to them other than that really strong chemical scent that the Panorama, the original Panoramas have. So if you've ever smelled the original Panoramas, these smell the same way. To me, they stink, but it doesn't seem to matter to the fish. So you can see this thing absolutely took a beat, and there's no eyeballs left on there. No nothing, a little bit of weed still on there, but the bait itself is actually in great shape. You can see this tail, the way it just kicks like that. But like I said, that 3D print really started to come off after a bunch of fish, but I mean, it still didn't affect the action of the bait at all. It worked awesome. And what I was throwing that on is I have 10-pound straight fluoro, and I'm throwing that on the Cast King MG12 Elite, which is an absolutely awesome kind of small swim bait, kind of small jerk bait, finesse-y kind of reel. And then I'm throwing that on a 7-foot St. Croix Physics rod, which is a straight medium action. So again, perfect. Bought this primarily to just kind of throw jerk baits, smaller kind of paddle tail swim baits and things like that. And this setup worked absolutely perfect for that. I was able to bomb these baits a mile because they have a nice internal weight to them. I don't know, let me see if it says on the package what these things weigh. It says they're only 1/8 of an ounce, but that's probably the internal weight. I think with the actual body of the swim bait and stuff like that, it's probably a little bit more because, like I said, on this setup, I mean, I'm able to throw it a mile and really kind of work that bait back in. But like I said, the only con I really see in the bait is how quick that finish kind of started to come off. but the bass didn't even seem to mind. Once that finish came off, they still kept munching it just like they were when it was brand new out of the package. So if you've been on the fence about giving these a shot, like I said, definitely give them a go. You can see, man, they work. It got munched. So I'll show you some of them catches now. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and let me know if you're throwing these baits, how much you like them.